the first condition to join the IoT campus is to speak English. Does everybody speak English? Yes. Okay, good. So the idea of the IoT campus is actually it's a vertical accelerator. Who thinks he knows what is or she knows what is an accelerator? Okay, so I'll try to. This is actually an image which I chose as my first image to try to explain you what it is. When you are a startup, you have to fight a lot of different combats, right? You have to. Who has already started a company here? Started a company. Okay, a number of entrepreneurs in the room. Who has failed at least one company? Okay, if you haven't failed any companies, you're not an entrepreneur, you're just a show goers, right? You just go with the flow. So failing a company, losing your own money, that's the way to succeed. Okay, otherwise you're just like repeating a story, you're playing a tape. But when you fail, it's the best MBA you can have in the world. Okay, it will cost you 20, if you're not lucky, 100,000 euros. I've lost a few hundred thousands on a number of companies, it was really fun. I was crying, of course, I lost a few apartments on the Knokkelzoet, but that's okay. But this is where I learned really where the business needs to go. So the important thing is to be able to differentiate yourself. So one of the combats you have to fight is when you are into this kind of red ocean stuff as a startup, you have to fight your partners, your customers, your resources, the finance guy. Nobody wants to give you money, nobody wants to believe in your idea, you are convinced about it, and so it's difficult. So the idea is that we are going to try to give you I would say a kickstart to be able to jump to a different water. Now, what I didn't illustrate in here is that when this little red fish arrives here, it's full of sharks. Okay, so he has to be like a bit muscular, so we're going to try to help you on that. Actually, an accelerator is a meeting place where you find 4 communities. The first important community, of course, is entrepreneurs. So we need startups. By the way, the colors do not match because the startups here are yellow, right? So the little red, I didn't know it was going to be yellow. But so entrepreneur is number 1, you're at the center. And these guys are going to meet with coaches. That's important into an accelerator. Why? Because an entrepreneur most of the time is good into a certain amount of things, and the first thing you learn when you fail is that you cannot be good in everything. You can only be good into a few things: technical, making databases, writing codes, debugging software, selling it or whatever. But for all the rest you need partners. You need eventually partners in your company or coaches who will try to give you some kind of trainings. Okay. By the way, the coaches, we have a few here. So which is the color that the coaches are? Blue. The coaches have a blue dot. Ask these guys what they do in life, right? And the reason why the coaching community is interesting is most of the time what I call seasoned executives, people who have experience, who have done it before in a specific area. We have great legal coaches in the room. Philippe, where are you? Okay, we have Philippe there, he's a great legal coach, I'm sure there are plenty of them. We have great HR coaches in the room, like Tatiana, hello, she's there, yeah. So we have great financial coaches like Martin. Where is Martin? Martin, don't be shy. He's somewhere at the back. Okay. So it's all these things where you think, I don't need to take care of that. You know, HR, legal, finance, and you need to understand that a company dies not because you have a wrong product, not because you didn't write the right line of code, not because you're missing a feature. It dies because you don't have cash anymore. Okay, that's the main reason why a company fails. You can't pay your bills at the end of the month, and if it's social security, it's dead all over the place. Okay, so finance is important. HR also. How many startups I have seen who had the wrong coaches, the wrong partners, and that means at the end of it's a bit like a wedding. Okay, everything is nice the first 3 months, and then you start going through the honeymoon trip, and then it's finished, it's over. Okay. It's over, or you go on with somebody else. It's actually the same here. So coaches are most of the time people who have experience and who are working 3 to 4 days a week for big corporation, which pays them like between 500 to 1,000 to 5,500 for the most lucky one a day, euros. Okay, and they have like 1/2 or 1 day left in the week where they could spend it with you. So we're going to give you the coaches which are top-notch inside IoT Campus to make sure they're going to support you, okay? And the way you're going to work with them is going to define also how you're going to pay them. Are you going to pay them yes or no? During the campus it will be free, but after that you can decide to stay with them and they will help you grow. Legal also, by the way, a wrong contract can kill a company, right? So a contract, I've had a few contracts where I've signed, I was so happy. got. It was like 10 years guarantee or whatever you can give to our customers, and this is killing the company in terms of costs. The other component which is important, which we are counting on today, are the corporates. It's not easy today to be a corporation. It's not easy today to be a large corporation. We have a few representatives here. We have people from Proximus, from Basics, from other companies and so on. Smart buildings, we can work with you. But for a corporate today, they have the same problem as a startup has, lack of resources, not in terms of money, not in terms of time, but also of people. So they are interested to work with you guys in order to make sure that maybe you can do innovation for them. And there we can do something like open innovation. That means a corporation can sponsor you to innovate on things which are not so strategic for them, but help them to build the market. Yeah? Also, eventually, this is the idea of a startup, of course, we are going to try to make you grow from a startup to a scale-up, making your first €1 million turnover or first 100,000 euros, and then eventually the corporate might be interested to buy you, to invest into you to start with, and then to buy you after 2 or 3 years if you work hard and you're successful. Okay? And then the last, of course, very important part, but I didn't put it at number 1 because for me it's number 4, it's the investors. I see a lot of who has already done a pitching event. Okay, done as a presenter or being, okay, who has done a very poor pitching event, like very bad one. Okay, most of you. Okay. A lot of people come and they say, hey, I have a great idea, I have some customers, I want money. I always tend to say that money is only the consequence of a company which is working. Okay? When you need money, it's too late. So you have to take money in a company when you don't need it, because when you need it, basically nobody wants to give it to you, that means you have a problem. Okay? So it's a luxury. So what we're going to try to do there, inside the campus, is to definitely help you pitching, but not just that, help you understand to adopt the business model that will make sure that when you need money, actually you won't need it. Okay, you will only need it to accelerate something that is already working well. If you can't, let's put it this way, if you can't bake a pancake, don't try of dreaming and building a waffle factory. Okay, start with the pancake and start by making the best pancake in the world, and then we'll find some money to make sure you can scale. Okay? If you have questions, you can always raise your hands, and there will be some question time afterwards also. So just to quickly to talk about acceleration. Actually, acceleration on a worldwide space, this is the numbers of 2017, it's not that, it's only 200 million of invested money into startups, and there are only about 11,300 startups in the world which have gone to an accelerator. Here we're going to have a first cohort to start in September, on a selection which will happen in June, for people who will send their applications between today and June, okay, on our website. And so the whole idea there is that only 600 accelerator programs have been identified in the world. And the good thing, look, is that actually from the Startup Accelerated, Europe is still leading on US. Isn't that strange? Okay? Which is already good. Latin America is not bad. China is not that into that mood yet. And definitely we have Middle East where it's a great acceleration program. By the way, we will take you to all of these places. So if you're part of the program, we'll offer you the possibility to have a look what's happening in the Middle East. And maybe you might define, I'm into smart building, but mainly for very overheated building or water-cooled building or whatever it is, then maybe you might need to move to Dubai, okay, to do that. Also, we try to take you to Chile or we try to US, so you're going to have to move. That's the important thing here. But the idea is that small amount of money, 200 million on a worldwide space, and which is spread with the majority in Europe. And then this is also, these are the top 10 startups. I mean, the most famous guys in the acceleration world are 500 startups. There are way over 500 startups today. They invested 34 million into cooperation in 2017, and then Techstars. These are like the two big ones. Yeah. But there is one nice one here, which I want to show you. It's this one. It's in the top 10 worldwide, Startup Chile. Why? Well, it's simply because the government of Chile has decided that it's a strategic activity for the country to start the acceleration community in Chile. Okay? And I can tell you that the impact of that, you will see it in 3 to 5 years. Okay? 10 years. So it might be that the next, I would say, Facebook is maybe coming from Latin America instead of coming from US. Okay? They're already losing steam in Silicon Valley, by the way. These are the hot topics. And look at this, right? These are the hot topics. These are the hot topics where people are investing in 2017, 2018, 2019. IoT is number 2, just after fintech, and then you have big data analytics and SaaS. Actually, one thing which is interesting also is that SaaS is a software as a service solution. So I would say cloud-based. It's a bit generic, this one, but these two are definitely related. IoT is going to help you, of course, as Emmanuel was saying, bring a lot of data out of all the objects. Then you're going to have to do a lot of number crunching, which is like big data analytics, okay? And then you're going to pump back eventually new ways to use things, to build for things, or to eventually recycle things in there, okay? So IoT is totally hot in the business. What you're going to get from us are actually like oriented for, you're going to have 3 streams of activities into the IoT campus. The first one is definitely technology, okay? So we're going to, and this is a bit the idea of a vertical accelerator. That means we don't accelerate any companies, we only take the ones which have an IoT project. And for this first cohort, we're going to try to concentrate on the one on smart buildings. Access to a great IoT platform. I've seen so many people reinventing the wheel each time. Okay, so for example, you decided that you have invented a new sensor, and in order to be able to illustrate that sensor, you need to have a certain amount of functionalities, display functionalities, you need to have some alarm functionalities, reporting, and so on and so forth. We have done that for you. So we, IoT Factory, are going to invest our technology into the IoT campus to make it available for you. Okay? And that is going to be for free. Okay, so we give it to you so that you can make sure that this is out of the way. You need to concentrate on the technology behind, the algorithms that you're going to have to run on the platforms, and of course also the business model that will allow you to set up the company on top of that. Next to this, we have the business stream. This is where you're going to have the legal, HR, finance, and different kind of coaching, of course, happening there in order to help you develop the business. And then you're going to have the finance one. Okay, finance is not only understand how do I need to pitch, how should I work on this one, but also eventually how to maximize the value out of your company and to make sure that you're able to sell it to investor. These are the 10 reasons, and this is my final slide, the 10 reasons why you should, if you have, so not an idea, so this is important. We try to take startups, we already have what we call a minimum viable product, okay? You already have like a prototype, you already have a few interested customers, the business model has already been tested, and then you need to move to the next stage, because it's going to be only 5 months, okay? So we start in September, you're going to work for 5 months, and after the end, at the end of the 5 months, the cohort will be finished, and you should be at a level where you have investors, you have a business model, and most of your technological problems have been solved, okay? So, join us because we are Vertical IoT Accelerator. We give you access to a world-class tech platform. You are able to plug in into an existing ecosystem. As the Minister Gosselin was saying, IoT is also something which is fundamental for cities, but fundamental for Brussels too. Okay? This is a great city to work in. This is definitely a city where it's great to live, and we think that this is going to be the next IoT Silicon Valley in Europe. Okay? Everything is here. The European community is in there and so on. You also can benefit from mobility from co-station. That is something we're going to finalize, but co-station, I guess, Beatrice, you showed it, right? So that you can go to Flanders. Let's say you have something which is more around chemicals. Maybe you want to go closer to Flanders and Antwerp and Ghent and these kind of places. Or maybe you are more into, I don't know, steel industry and you want to go more to the south. Okay, so you will be able to move inside the co-station, and of course, after the acceleration program, to stay into the co-station network. That's the idea behind that. We're going to have a main sponsor per cohort, so per each cohort thematic, we're going to try to get you a main sponsor that will, of course, get some finance, but also help you gain some visibility. We're going to use this also in the communication. And it's ideal, of course, if we talk about smart building, it should be something that is close to the heart of the sponsor. We're going to also help you doing some co-creation with corporations, and they will come with their own problems, you will come with your solution, and then you will have a very quick, I would say, quick and dirty way to work together to start with, but also test your idea very quickly. I see so many people working on ideas for months before presenting it to the customer, and they say, oh, that's actually not what he wants. That's not the problem he has. So try to, we're going to have physically corporation presence into the IoT campus. Of course, we're going to also have the people I see. I'm not going to point him, otherwise everybody will ask some money. But I see some people from Innovaris here. So we'll help you to file for the right, so public and private money available in Brussels. A lot of possibilities. Again, if you have a strong technology, a strong team, and a little bit of traction, it will help, of course, selling the thing. We will work on promotion by Hub Brussels. We know what Hub Brussels is. All right, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, so Hub Brussels is the concatenation of Brussels Invest and Export, of Atrium, and of Impulse. Okay, so they can definitely help you, of course, fine-tune your pitch and things like that on the financing side. Also promoting you. Brussels Invest and Exports, of course, is pushing you outside of Brussels.